Came out in 1980.
New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the fake side.
I don't believe it.
It
lying. He's
actually,
lying.
it actually comes from...
It felt like the 50s.
Welcome to Cloud Reality's live and original podcast from Capgemini, and this week co-sponsored by AWS. We are live in the Venetian Hotel on the Strip in Las Vegas at AWS reInvent 2025. I'm Dave Chapman.
I'm Esmee.
And I'm Rob Boetticher.
And in this episode, we are going to focus on some industries, specifically energy and utilities and automotive. Later in the episode, we're going to have Howard Gefen, who's the GM of Energy and Utilities Industry Business Unit at AWS. But joining us first, I am delighted to say, is Rob Boetticher, who's the Director of Technology in Global Automotive and Manufacturing, also at AWS. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate being here.
Our pleasure. Thanks for taking the time out. I'm sure it's a pretty busy conference diary.
It's been quite busy. A lot of exciting announcements. I got here over the weekend, and it's been nonstop ever since.
Are you a reInvent veteran? Is this
my fifth year.
Fifth year?
Fifth year.
Okay.
Have you got a step count?
I think I did 12,000 steps yesterday. I haven't looked yet today.
That's pretty good going. We are... I mean, it's not good for our health and fitness, but we're quite lucky in the sense that we just have to come from the car park to the Yardbird, which is really
Marcel
not too
drives
bad.
us in and just like, what's that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm walking from one end of the Venetian to the other every 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not a small hotel, is it?
No, it's not. It's quite large.
Yeah. It's like literally 20 minutes to walk from one side to another, something like that. It's absolutely mind-boggling scale. So how's reInvent been for you? Any standout moments or announcements?
Announcements, standout moments. Yeah, I would say just starting with the keynote, Matt's keynote yesterday, a lot of stuff that's really impacting my customers directly, especially around things like we've been talking about developer efficiency with Kiro, a lot about Agent Core. So that's been standout for me. Every customer meeting I've been in so far, it's been a key topic that our customers all want to know about. So the customer excitement here this year is just incredible, even compared to years past.
Right. Good. So, Rob, you've been keeping an eye, as usual, on the announcements. What have we got on day two?
So, lots on data and agentic, as you might expect, Swami's keynote this morning. So I've picked out 4, and then there's a 5th special one for you, David, at the end, which came up, which was actually a client use case that I know you'll be quite joyed about.
I mean, this is exciting.
I'll hold that into the end, though.
This is exciting.
So the idea of proactive agents, so agents that will come and search and be something that comes back and maybe prompt you on things you hadn't thought about. So that whole, we are used to clicking the button and saying, agent, do this. Now the agents will come back and say, all right, human, you do this, which is quite cool.
I'm not sure I like that.
Well, it's coming.
I've got enough humans telling me what to do. The last thing I need is a load of agents.
You struggle with any form of direction.
I did.
Any form of direction on any level.
I've got an issue with hierarchy. What can I say?
You're raging against any machine. Or a rebel without applause. There's also there was a load in there about model customization as well in Bedrock. So the idea of taking AI and customizing it more to what you want. She's still going. I like that.
It's just the fact that you so thoroughly amused yourself with your own joke there for a minute.
That's very good. But the whole idea, we heard about Nova and multimodal, but this is about taking something and making it work more specifically for you, which was cool. A lot on automated reasoning, actually, and making agents more trustworthy. So using the system to look at the behavior of what's going on. So you can judge if it's good or bad. That was quite nice. So a new ethos coming out about how do we make sure we understand that agents are doing the job we want. And Amazon Nova Act, which is like managing fleets of agents and rethinking how model training works end to end. So again, it's all that maturity of the ecosystem.
Infrastructural management of those sorts of environments.
And the training and the management of and the agents. So it's like a one-stop shop. So, we said more opinionated view of how to do things. Again, this is more of the opinion. But for you, Mr. Chapman, the CEO of Vercel came out on stage.
Of what?
Vercel, a company. He's here, and he talked about something that I think would get quite nice of you, which is talked about fully self-driving compute infrastructure which is the concept of I write code, I push it to the system, and the system deals with all the architectural stuff. So what is this for you?
See.
The end of the architect.
The displacement of the architect.
Exactly. So the idea of writing your code and letting the system build the architecture for you and making it work is there, and that's where they're moving towards.
Did you have an existential moment when you heard
That
this?
was it. I thought, that's my career over.
I'm done.
I'm a goner.
I'm done.
All my ivory towers smashed.
And you'd only just come up with the concepts of the ivory tower on top of the ivory tower.
The double ivory tower.
Yeah. There's like 2x ivory tower. You might not ever have a chance to implement that now.
I don't know how I'm going to slow down decision making now. I'm confused.
It's taken that power away from you.
I feel disarmed. I feel quite disarmed.
You know, you should. I think, undoubtedly, I'm sure this is going to work, Ez, right?
Yeah.
So Rob is a level 4 architect, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And that's it's the top of the tree. That's as good as it gets.
Is there a level 5 actually?
Well, this is where I'm going.
Oh.
To counter the situation, you introduce a level 5.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, no matter how sophisticated all of that stuff is,
you
just
still
said,
need
that level. Everyone will be like, "There's always a place for a level 5." That's, I think. Look, I think we've
that's
cracked
where
it.
I'm going to have to go, isn't it?
I think we've cracked that.
But in all seriousness, the idea of writing code, describing the behavior of what you want and allowing the system to go and deal with it, I mean, that's huge efficiency.
Pretty cool.
You go straight to code and need and function, and you don't worry about non-functional.
Is it a natural language interface at the front? You keep saying writing code. Is it like
no, you write
do
the
have to write
code, and the system looks at the code and says,
But you
your
can't
behavior
just,
needs this,
Put me in a 3 landing zone situation,
Well, if you
split over this, blah, blah, blah.
No, you don't have to do that. You just write your code and it goes, you need this infrastructure.
Do you still need to write the code? Because we've already
That's what I'm
talked
trying
about
to get to.
examples.
Oh, no, but
you just
you
talk
could.
about it. This is what I wanted to do.
It's
and then,
getting there, in it, where you just talk about it and then the app pops up on your phone 10 minutes
I
later.
feel he's trying to make it sound a bit more complicated than it actually is to try and retain
he's
some
trying
position.
Where's my control going to come from next?
I know. I think
How many years do you have to work? Like for 10 years?
I don't know,
So you
I've
have to stretch it.
Well, the way it was positioned, I've got about, 5 days and then I'm nobbled.
Now, before we move on and talk about automotive, I've got a very important thing to ask, Esmee. Anything been spilled on you today?
Not as far as I know.
No? Oh, that's pretty good.
This isn't fair.
Yeah.
Because I got 3 incidents.
You took it every day.
I took it every day. You've had it once.
Yeah, but you cost it every day.
Yeah,
That's
that is
different.
true, actually.
I don't know.
I like the look of disgust on your face when you said that.
Yeah, well, it's different, you know.
Different. Well, Marcel's looking very guilty sat next to us. He's just,
He's thinking about spilling.
yeah. Anyway.
Well, let's roll back into automotive. Rob, you'll be very pleased to hear.
I've enjoyed the conversation so far.
Good. Let's start with the value chain in automotive, and just give us a sense of where that is today from a just digitalization and I guess AIization. Is that a word yet? Have I just invented a word?
It's a new word.
Yes. I think we all know what it means. That's going to catch on.
No,
I don't think that's
clue.
getting into dictionary.com like 6-7. Exactly.
6-7. Yeah. So give us a sense of, as an industry, perhaps, where is it all up to? Lots of disruption has gone on, I think.
Yeah. So we like to think about the value chain, and we think about a couple of different aspects. We think about start off by looking at the customer value chain and the journey a customer goes through from the time they want to start thinking about purchasing a vehicle to purchasing that vehicle, and then aftermarket. So what are they doing when they want to get their car serviced? They want some aftermarket sales or looking for aftermarket products. We also think about the vehicle journey, where we start off, we're an OEM, an automaker, starts a design concept, they go through engineering, move into production, right? And then obviously moves into sales. So we look across these different value chains from the customer and a vehicle perspective, and across both those different value chains, we've seen cloud and now AI play a role to accelerate each one of those value chains. When I think about areas from the development side, we are helping a number of our customers around developer efficiency as they build new vehicles. As everyone probably knows, there's a lot of competition in the market.
Yeah.
Our automakers are under tremendous pressure for time to market and cost. And so we're really trying to help them on how they build vehicles much faster. So how they go from concept to start a production much faster, and then how they continue to build those at a lower cost. So that's key focus in the industry. from that perspective of the value chain.
Gotcha. And obviously, it would be highly unusual if you weren't talking about AI or the AIization, as I like to say.
Easy.
I might use that.
It's
going to catch
well
on.
done for
It's
coming
going
up.
viral.
It's incredibly difficult to pronounce that AIization.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
But you struggle with anthropomorphization.
I do struggle
But you've
with
just created a really difficult thing to say.
But at least I can say it, unlike the other word. So what's the situation? Is it broadly where everybody else is, which is maybe coming out of proof of concept phase, looking at the new tooling, like some of the announcements this week around things like agent management and stuff like that? Is it in the same place as everybody else, or?
I would say like any other industry. I think you have customers and OEMs, some of them are further ahead than others, but they're all looking at agentic and building out fleets of agents to perform different tasks. Every one of my customers is thinking somehow about how they build a core functionality around agentic. And so how do they build this platform that scales where they can build agents, deploy agents. And what's really important right now, because we've been talking about agents for, it feels like years. It's actually probably only been less than a year.
Yeah.
That really
12 months.
It was-
Didn't exist.
I know.
It is absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It feels like that's all I've been talking about for years, but it really has only been the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
The real focus now that we're really thinking about how we build agents and what we're going to and what we're going to start using them for is really around governance and security. And that's been a key topic on as we start building out agents and fleets of agents. Do these agents have access to the right data?
Yeah.
Do they have access to other agents and tools? And should they have access? And how are you building that governance? As you know, with automotive, we're helping our customers build products that folks drive around in vehicles, and it's important to make sure that there's quality behind it. In addition, when I look at different areas of the world, we have to ensure that we're applying, we're adhering to local laws around, data classification, data localization. All that matters from a governance and security perspective for our customers. So the stuff we talk about around agent security and building, an inside agent core right now, that is really resonating with our customer base.
Are there any specific proof of concept early implementations of agents that have stood out for you as being either particularly novel or successful?
Yeah, I would say, it's the place where it's really stood out, where it started first. Probably two different areas. One is in customer service, right? And as we think about, contact centers and customer service and clients or customers calling in. So using agents there to automate that workflow. We've been doing that, for years in call centers. We're now seeing that become more agentified. Right. So we're seeing agents really become successful there, as well as we've started out with AI with chatbots, obviously, right? And so I think this follows a natural progression. The other area has been around developers, right? And developer efficiency. And how do our developers start to use agents to begin to deploy code? We've had a couple of customers already look at some of the frontier agents that we announced, and we're seeing some early success and some early traction there as we look at developer efficiency.
Right.
And and the model, when you look at the developer, it started out as, in the very early days, and I say that, but that was only 6 months ago, was a developer helper. And now it's moved to a developer, as in an agent that is a developer. You give it a remit, it goes off and does much more. So the ability for an agent to create like the output that a human would have or still does is like just suddenly appeared as this now works.
Yeah, and I think it's even more than that, right? So it's not just about writing the code; it's about stitching together all the services. So I'd like to build a software application that accesses this database and has access to these different services, and just to watch that agent go and spin up different AWS services in the background as well, and build that entire environment. So it's not just about the code that comes out; it's about the entire environment that's built up to support it.
There you go. More proof that the architects are becoming redundant, David. You just heard it here first. It's happening in
Been a rough
industry.
week for you, hasn't it?
Yes, it's terrible. By the time I get home, I think I'll be redundant.
And the week started out so well.
I know. I was on the up.
Yeah.
Guest of the day. I'll just remember that and forget about the rest of it.
That might end up being the peak of your career.
Yes, that's a depressing but probably truthful moment.
I mean, it happened. At least it happened.
Did happen. Did.
Let's talk about the Transform product, which I think is one of the things that released this week. I think it particularly has power when you start to talk about it in an industry context. So how do you hold the value of it? Like, what does it do, and how do you think it's going to apply to your industry specifically?
Yeah, and we've had a couple of early case studies around this as well, and even some of our customers have spoken about it here at reInvent this week. It's interesting because, Transform, when you think about it, helps, transform code and build these, help our customers, migrate from workloads to the cloud. I've had customers start to use it already around mainframe modernization. So you think about technology, that's mainframe modernization. Why are we playing around mainframe modernization? It's a challenge our customers have had for decades.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They have code sitting out on mainframes that have been in production for 30 or 40 years. They literally run the entire manufacturing line.
Everyone's terrified of it. It's not just the financial investment, which is often significant, but everyone's terrified of touching the thing.
Well, they don't know what it does.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, there's the first thing we end up doing when we do any of these big transform projects is going through and actually documenting the code and understanding what that code is doing. And it was built by developers 30, 40 years ago. A lot of those folks have retired or moved on to.
Yeah.
There was a story in Europe I heard where a father started writing mainframe code and their son ended up supporting the code base their father had written.
In the Nordics,
There's 2 generations of family working on one code base. That gives you. But again, there's another side to it, which is don't bemoan the fact that they've served us well. Yeah. It does still work. It has powered enterprise for 40 years. So you got this, it works and it does what it says on the tin, but it is time for a change now, isn't it?
Yeah, and our customers have been looking for years for a way to make this transformation and not have it take another 7 years or another 10 years to make that transformation, which is originally how long they were scoping some of these projects.
Yeah.
Now we can go in, we can look at the code, we can document it, we can do the transformation into more modern code bases. We can move to a modern architecture, container based, whatever that may be, right? And then we can help do that testing and training that our customers are striving for or need to do as part of it.
And what kind of time frame would a transform engagement run over? I mean, to a certain extent, I'm sure it's due to complexity of the application, but just generalistically, and what actually is the engagement? Is the engagement like a services plus technology engagement to try and tiger team a situation sort of thing?
I think it's always going to be some type of services engagement, in addition to a transform engagement. That's always I think going to be part of it. There's still work that has to be done to break these applications down and there's still a change management we have to go through. You just can't rip it out one day and start over. Like there has to be some sort of transformation period that a customer goes through because they're running 24/7. Some of them, production lines that you just can't interrupt. But the typical engagements we see here, and just we've gone from what would have taken months to rewrite code to down to days or hours sometimes.
Scary productivity gain, isn't it? It's like 10x plus type productivity gains around the thing. It's like
it is, and the engagements really all vary. Like we have some customers with millions and millions of lines of code that they're trying to transform over thousands of applications. So it really depends on the type of customer and what in the project that we're tackling.
Is it easy to convince, because it has such good results? Is it just give us one example, we'll show you what it works, and then the customer is all in? Or what do you see in terms of adoption?
Early on, and I'm saying early on is a year ago, early on, we were working with some initial customers on this, and we talked about these mainframe modernizations and mainframe transformations, and we all were figuring it out together. So I would say a year ago, we were in this mode where let's figure this out. Let's figure out how we're going to help make these transformations. Let's start to architect products or services around this. Now I think the proof points are there. So we're seeing much less reluctance and more acceptance. I think if this is possible, because what you said earlier is very true. folks are afraid to touch it, right? It's the lifeblood of a manufacturing, of a shop floor, a vehicle moving down manufacturing floor relies on those applications. So you just can't shut it off. And now that we're seeing success in making these mainframe transformations, that success, I think, is turning into other customers becoming much more interested.
It's a great sort of, I know there's nothing like a silver bullet in IT, but it does feel a little bit like the sweet relief for the CIO with the mainframe headache, where you go, there is actually something now pragmatic I can use to quickly transform this thing that is just the bane of my life.
Yeah.
Just zooming out from that then, and maybe just to bring our conversations there to a bit of a conclusion, a lot's gone on in automotive. The cars themselves are transforming, powered by different things. Connected car is more than with us. The experience within a car is changing. So it's had to drive dramatically increased sort of transformation in all of the supply chains and all of that kind of stuff. And now we've been talking today about kind of transforming a lot of the back end and about around the automotive organizations themselves. When you cast out a couple of years, now you choose your time frame, it could be 2 years or 10 years, entirely with you. How do you think that's all going to show up to the driver?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought the conversation back here, because it really is about the customer experience, right? And what we're seeing around customization of the vehicle is, we already see it today. Customers want to have the same experience they have in their home in the vehicle, right? It's an extension to what they're doing the rest of their life. So we've already seen that happen in vehicles and with digital technologies inside vehicles. So they want that same experience they can have at their laptop or they can have at home, be able to move simple things like their playlists over, but really like that whole experience. They want to be able to know that they'll bring that experience to the vehicle.
I use one of the examples also on birthdays or whatever to explain what the power of technology is my car experience in the car wash. The feature wasn't in there yet. And then everything starts beeping as soon as you get into the car wash. You know that? Like all
the motion sensors and that.
Yeah, all the sensors. Then I got a call like weeks later from the dealer. Said, there's a new feature. Put it on. Do the update. So the update was already there, obviously, because it was automated. And then it has the car wash feature. So you just press it and then automatically all the sensors go off. The mirrors go in. And I was like, that's understanding what's
experience. Proper experience.
I love it.
There's other nice touches. You get in car and near Christmas, it puts a little Santa hat on the top and snow
in
falls.
The app as well, you can see there's snow in the car.
At Easter, there's a little Easter bunny and an egg appears. But this
is why you guys are doing all that technical innovation.
This is level 4. This is level 4.
I'm all about added value and experience. but it's a thing about they understand. It was like Sony putting an NVIDIA 3D graphics engine inside the car for the end user. About it's an entertainment.
It is.
Experience.
Yeah, that's the home extension towards the car.
It is. And just think about what you just said there, right? All of a sudden I had this new feature appear in my vehicle, a couple of days later, or a couple of weeks later. That's unheard of a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're seeing these pushes and these updates to vehicles to react to customer needs and make these changes and provide that better experience for our end users.
What you could do is, as a crafty developer, move buttons around in the car that the driver uses. Specifically, the car starts to gaslight you. The heated seat button was never there, but it's over. No, sorry, it was never there. It's always been there. It's always been there. Yeah.
Well, look, Rob, thank you. On that note, thanks for spending some time with us today out of a very busy diary. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Now, we've been ending these live shows this week by asking our guests about the crossover of fact and fiction in the world of technology. It used to be that, fiction was the place of, talking about AI and robots and various things happening. And now actually you go down on the show floor and it's here, it's with us, it's real, with a lot of the attendant conversation around it. But is there anything in the world of tech fiction, could be film, could be book, could be TV, that stands out for you that as a good or bad representation of what's going on?
There's probably a dozen examples I can think of here, both good and bad.
Right.
Probably the one that probably stands out the most is probably 2001.
It is classic for a reason.
Yeah.
What aspects of that resonate?
A lot of what I grew up, hearing about this like well before 2001, and all the things that we started to talk about, decades ago, like some
Right.
are coming true
Yeah.
today. Like you're seeing some of this automation, you're seeing, robots, you're seeing that come into society today.
Yeah, I think not the space travel aspect of 2001.
Yeah.
But a lot of 2001, whether it be the video calling thing, which was
Exactly.
very novel, or whether it be HAL, of course.
Yeah.
In terms of leveraging an artificial intelligence.
Do you often, does it resonate you? Because in the film, I think it's, I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot do that. Do you get that a lot? Is that why?
The first time anyone said it to me. I'd rather have that than some of your comments about Dave's hot chicken last night, Robert.
Oh,
we went to it was good, actually. It was all right. We went to a restaurant last night. It was Dave's hot chicken. It was very tasty. Actually, Marcel had the hot. And quite frankly,
he teared up.
He's like crying, tears running down his face.
It's because I wasn't there and he was missing me.
Well, he said it was because
tears
it was
of joy.
hot,
Then,
but
yeah. Maybe tears of joy, not tears of sadness.
Yeah,
think about
that'll be
that.
what it is. Rob, thanks again. It was great to see you today. Have a good rest of the conference.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Have a great rest of the conference. Thank you.
And I'm delighted to say that joining us now is Howard Gefen. He's the GM of the Energy and Utilities Industry Business Unit at AWS. Howard, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Dave and Esmee and Rob. Really appreciate being on the podcast today. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. And we always say this to our guests, but you must have a pretty packed diary. So how's the week been for you so far? And are you managing to squeeze everything in?
It has been busy, but it's exciting time of year for us. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on at AWS. There's a lot going on here at reInvent. And it's, excuse the pun, very energizing. There's just a lot of people talking about a lot of great things.
Did you throw that in your presentation?
There's always a bit of energy in the presentation.
Energy
Dave.
gags.
Yeah.
And how's this reInvent to you? You've been to a few before, I understand. So.
I have. I think this is my sixth one.
Right.
It seems to get better every year. We get a little better at how we do logistics, how we organize things. Hopefully, this is smooth for all our customers. It's a learning conference, and it's great. We probably have, I don't know what the official count is, somewhere around 60,000.
Right.
That's what we've had the last couple of years. And it seems well attended. The weather's nice, which helps because there's a lot of walking around.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I got in like 13,000 steps yesterday.
Well, we're quite lucky. We don't get out and about very much because we're sort of here the whole time. We're like based in the Yardbird, and that's not that many steps from where we park the car. So like we just walk in and then we just sit here all
People
day.
rotate around you.
It's like the
a lot
conference
easier.
comes to us.
250.
It's a real privilege from that perspective. Yeah, it like comes to us and we.
I got
have
to
the
tell you,
opportunity to talk about it.
the 13,000 steps helps with the 3 different dinners I have to eat every night.
Yeah.
I bet it does too.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And the point you just made there about the learning conference, I actually really love that about reInvent because like everywhere you go, you get a sort of a view of something, whether that's like in a formal session, whether you're a dev or an exec track person or whatever it might be. But then even when you go down onto the expo floor, as you're walking around, you just get like educated on the market and where companies are and what they're doing and things like that.
Right.
It's fascinating stuff.
Right. And it's everything from, our CEO, Matt Garman, sets the tone where his keynote is, 2.5 hours long.
Right.
There are very few conferences where you go where the CEO gets up and talks for 2.5 hours and makes a bunch of announcements and talks about the future and talks about, covers a lot of ground. And that then, is kind of pervasive throughout the entire conference. So,
right. Yeah. A good tone setter. So while we're talking about that, are there any particular announcements that have stood out for you this year?
I think every year is a little bit different. Last year was sort of a year where we really talked about the beginning of AI blossoming and foundation models happening,
Right.
and as it relates to cloud and Amazon releasing its Nova models, and that was new. And I think this year is all about. If I had one word to sort of describe the theme, it would be agentic.
Right.
And so agentic AI It's here, it's coming. We made several announcements as it relates to autonomous, independent agents that are going to be part of everyday business life and in every business process you can imagine. And so that's new this year, and that's the theme of how deep we go in terms of the development environment, in terms of security, in terms of helping other people build, helping our customers build applications and take advantage of the scale and insights that GenAI has to offer. Also, the pace of innovation in chips. And I think we announced, that we have a Trainium chip 3 and coming with Trainium 4, but every year the curve of productivity just increases so fast.
Right.
And I think the final thing this year that I think the theme or the vibe or the message that everybody seems to be thinking about is just how fast we're changing. That the pace of change and what it means to how we work and all of our jobs and how we live is more front and center this year than I think it's been in the past.
Yeah, indeed. And we might I think we'll come back to that subject specific to the sector shortly. As day 2, we heard from Rob earlier in terms of stuff that in terms of announcements that stood out to him. What stood out to you?
Yeah, for me, actually, I want to dive into what Howard also just mentioned. We're talking about DevOps and tech a lot, but especially the business consequences is what I find very interesting. Because now, if your agent, your DevOps agent, is helping you remove all those handovers, helping you check everything and do so much work for you, your speed of change in business, I'm very curious if they can keep up. Right? Because we had the days that IT was the lagging part in an organization. Like, we did a request and it takes months and maybe even a year before we got the results. But now if those agents are really helping all the developers in doing their daily job, the business consequences can actually be huge.
Yeah.
So I think that stood out for me the most in terms of, okay, if we're talking about value and having these agents work side by side, how is that going to impact all the industries? And especially now with Howard in the room, I'm very curious about his view on this.
I think it makes, it's a great point. I think it makes everybody who uses these tools that are available more productive. And what happens is that it's not just about efficiency, which it clearly provides. And I can talk about some specific use cases of that, but it's also, it's this sort of, if I don't do this, how am I going to keep up? How am I going to keep up with our competition? How am I going to cut enough? How am I going to be efficient enough? How am I going to, in the case of energy companies, whether it's producing enough energy or whether it's, maintaining the grid or integrating renewable resources, whatever it is, because the tools are so productive. I mean, we're seeing I've seen statistics that are crazy. Like I've seen statistics that say that with the Cairo environment and the agents being used and all the tools being used, that our developers are 60x more productive.
Wow.
So I don't know about you, but there are very few things where you can be 60%, 60 times, 60x more productive.
I mean, let's be honest. If we got that to Marcel, he might become a normal producer.
He can.
Sorry, Marcel. You're getting a right bashing this week, aren't you?
You should ask him how many podcasts he's producing right at this minute.
0.
There you go.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
No, we can't help himself.
But one of the things that I could talk about in terms of the developer environment and having those tools and having DevOps tools, one of the things that in this period of change, when companies are, whether they're migrating to the cloud itself or whether they're migrating to new applications or using or optimizing their software on a new set of chips or whatever it is, those tasks are usually very daunting and they just take a lot of man hours, they take a lot of time. And when you can reduce those tasks from, weeks, days to hours, it changes your mental model in how much you think you can get done and how much you can get done with the team that you have, which is really what this is about, is being more productive, not necessarily doing away with.
And I think to your point as well, I mean, when you provide the capability to do such a dramatic change, the rest of the system has to adjust, right?
Yeah,
to be
they're
able to
gonna
cope with
expect it as well.
Yeah.
Times 60, if that's the velocity they're going to expect.
That's
Is the
right.
business,
Well, you've got,
it's going to be interesting.
I think to that exactly that point, it's interesting to know whether organizations are going to take that as basically an efficiency, because so much time has been saved, so they're trying to wring more out of less, or whether they're going to take that as basically additional productivity in the sense of, right, we've now got through that 60 times faster, so therefore we can do, I don't know, 60 times more the releases, or innovation.
Yeah.
Or get 20% more oil out of the ground,
Right.
or integrate 50% more renewable resources faster into the grid than we did before. I think different organizations, and in the energy sector especially, are on different timelines of that expectation curve. Right.
Yeah.
Because the energy companies are, for the most part, critical infrastructure companies, and their culture is based around making big what we call at Amazon one-way door decisions, where you invest a lot in developing a project, in building a dam or a nuclear reactor or whatever it is that you're doing that's going to yield down the road product or energy in this case. And so applying these tools to those processes that it's all about, saving time and we call it time to value faster.
Right.
And I think that's the prevalent sort of vector now versus, we don't need certain people because we can do these things.
Well, on that note, let's just zoom out a little bit and talk specifically about the energy sector itself. Maybe just create a little pen picture of the disruption and movement that's going on in that sector, because there is a lot happening in terms of the energy transition and a number of other things around renewables and different sources of energy. Yeah. But perhaps just what's going on in there.
Well, I mean, there's a couple different places. If you look at just everybody has, this is something that's relatable to consumers. Everybody has a gas meter or a meter in their house, and in certain parts, usually that meter, the evolution was that meter. Somebody used to come around and read the meter, physically, and then report it on a ledger and send, is it up or down? How much did they use? And send it back to headquarters. And then it evolved to being able to read it, and transmit the reading, once a month, and then it was once a day. And in parts of Asia now, you have a rule that says you have to read meters every 5 minutes. And so there's this plethora.
That is a lot of data.
It's a lot of data. It's hundreds of millions of readings, every day around the world. And so smart meters, so that system needs scale and automation, and all of that data needs to be read, and there needs to be insights from that data. And so that is transforming how the companies that provide that demand, that energy, think about it, because now they have the ability, they get all that data and they look at it, and they can tell where the demand curve is, and where they need more energy, and where they need to put more energy on the grid, or how they, and they can have demand plans with consumers, so you can pay less money if you don't use energy during the day, and so on.
Right.
And there's all kinds of transformation that just didn't exist just a few years ago.
And of course, the demand, the increase in demand for energy is just skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of things like AI, of course, which is a very energy hungry new technology, but in terms of, I was reading the other day. Rob, I think it was you banging on about this, which was about just it was the devices, like the plugged-in devices that are charging, actually account for a rather large percentage.
The home is still the vast consumer of energy in our society. So I think global data center production's predicted to get to about 10%. But still only 10% of what is a vast majority is you as an individual at home just using electricity.
Yeah, it's homes. It's really the electrification of everything.
Right.
So it's homes. It's all of the electric vehicles that we're plugging in. It's changing all of our infrastructure from gas to electric. And I mean, there's still about 1 billion people in the world who don't have reliable electricity. And so just, getting the globe on a scale that, so everybody can have a good standard of living is going to require, a lot more energy every year. As I said, by 2050, the world's going to need about 47% more energy than it has today, which is just it's a very, very large number.
It's a crazy number. I mean, Rob was written to by his local city council that told him he had to do controlled brownouts of his gaming infrastructure, didn't you, Rob?
Did you cause it by yourself, Rob? Little crypto mine in the basement.
the crypto mine in the basement.
Exactly, yeah. Great. And where do you think, talk to us a little bit about the energy transition and what's going on in that conversation today?
Well, and it's funny, that word was very popular a few years ago. I mean,
really
that's how
was.
we all talked about it.
Yeah.
And now it's really an energy transformation. It's really, the conversation is really about more. It's an and conversation. It's not an or.
Okay, that is a shift.
Yeah. It's an and conversation. There will be an energy mix for a long period of time. There will be parts of the world that that continue to use coal even, that use oil, that use gas, natural gas, and it is a big part of the energy mix. But renewables is a growing part everywhere, and and countries and companies like Amazon are committed to kind of, a sustainable future. Amazon has a climate pledge where we are committed to being carbon neutral by 2040, which is 10 years ahead of the Paris Protocol. Where we're already, as a company, all of our data centers are fueled by renewable energy. And we reached that goal a few years ahead of when we said by 2030, we're going to become water positive, even though the data centers, use a lot of water. But we're working on, and all of that is because of technology helping to solve that.
Right.
But the energy industry is going through that. And one of the biggest challenges is just in the grid itself, because the way that the energy grid has been built has been a one-way architecture where you produce energy and it comes out the other end as electricity. You use turbines to and you send that electricity and that energy out to homes and businesses and whatever. And with the advent of renewable sources, whether it be wind or solar or water or nuclear, the grid has to now be two-way. It has to take in all of those resources, has to manage where demand is, and that requires a huge amount of analysis, a huge amount of scale, and all of that lends itself to the cloud and to AI. And an example of that is we at AWS are working with Duke's a good example. Duke Energy, which is one of the largest utility in the United States, and we've been partnering with them to build analysis tools and power flow applications so that they can do that same analysis. They can run those calculations to optimize where they need load in any part of their territory. And those calculations used to take 6 weeks, and now they take 15 minutes.
Right.
And that's the kind of, and they're going to do more and more of that. Another big problem to solve is the interconnection problem. There are thousands of projects that aren't online yet that are being developed for solar and wind, and that they have to go through what's called an interconnection process. And the process takes months and months and months. And so AWS, we've been working with many companies to automate that process and streamline that process and use AI and tools to reduce that process so that more projects can get on much faster. And so that's just two examples of kind of where things are changing, but where technology and scale really help accelerate that change.
I would imagine that in such a sort of physical kit-heavy environment, and also obviously an extremely long running one, there's going to be inevitably a ton of legacy in the estate, and a need to create the transformational shift that you're talking about. Talk to me a little bit about how one of the announcements this week, which is AWS Transform, might help you guys lean into that.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the energy companies have been around for a while, and like in the case of, in the case of oil and gas, there are a lot of data centers that are built to optimize what we call seismic analysis. It's just an example, and they're optimized data centers that are on premise, that these companies have been working with for the last 20, 30 years to optimize those. And these companies recognize that to take advantage of the innovation, the scale that they need to get to compute, to do all that work, high performance computing work and other work, they need to transition that to the cloud. But in doing that, there is a lot of migration work that has to happen. There's a lot of optimizing from one development environment to another.
Right.
And so the announcement around Transform and agents is right, kind of aims right in the center of that. So you're using those agents. Those agents are independent, autonomous, and they run by themselves, and they help reduce all of that time and migration and flow by orders of magnitude.
And in terms of like and it's really hard to say this for the whole sector. Where would you say it's up to in terms of its adoption of, I guess, both cloud in the first instance? Because the world is still on, unbelievably, actually 15 years later, but the world is still on its journey to being 100% cloudified, and then of course like the adoption of AI.
Yeah, I would say the energy sector has been, because it's critical infrastructure, because it makes one-way decisions, because of the whole culture, it's been slower to adopt the cloud than, say, financial services, media, automotive, manufacturing. But the advent of AI is really changing that. It's
providing like a killer app type reason to do it.
It's a reason to do it. And so it provides the forcing function to say, okay, we've been thinking about this, or we've been doing it in pockets, but now we need to accelerate. And that's what's happening.
Right.
And that's happening at speed, I would say.
Right, that's interesting. So you're having with the client organizations you're talking to, it's moved right to an AI conversation, and as a result of that, the pull through is, okay, we've got to shift at least your data and probably an app set to the cloud at the same time.
Yeah, that, and also I think it's just, I think we've reached a tipping point where all the IT organizations and the business organizations within these companies, they've been kind of entering the cloud business, but it used to be, do we need to do this? Is it the right thing? At what point is it optimized or better? And now those questions have sort of gone away. It's more when.
Right.
And how, not if.
Not if.
Right across all the powder base, you got like grid balancing, billing, control, logistics.
Across every area.
Is it, you think you see it right across the
see it everywhere.
set domains?
See it everywhere.
And do you find that right across all the powder base? You got like grid balancing, billing, control, logistics, all the standard enterprise. Is it, you think you see it right across the whole set domains? Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Everybody,
you'd always get SaaS or something like that introduced, but the core of the business didn't shift, did it? And now there's a compelling reason that you see that.
Affordable energy, and to do it more efficiently. And the way to do that is at scale with technology and AI, and then if you want to incorporate AI and technology and scale, well, the cloud is the vehicle to do that. And the way to do that.
So maybe just to bring our conversation today to a bit of a conclusion, one of the things, the word that's in my head, you actually just said it as well, when we talk about such massive infrastructures is scale, and the time it's going to take to create the transform effect, whether that's about any transition on the other side, or whether it's about something more mundane like cost saving or whatever it might be. I know it's like spinning a roulette, spinning a wheel in Vegas type thing, asking this type of question. But what is that time frame in your mind when it's attached to the sort of scale of work that's required?
I mean, it's never as soon as we think or as late as we think. It's somewhere in between those two.
I think I might use that one.
It's happening. I mean, there's always a tipping point.
Yeah.
And I think, and AI is providing that tipping point of cloud adoption. We're seeing acceleration that we, to change rates that we haven't seen in the last couple of years. And it's because of that. So the industry is adopting and is on that curve. When it gets to full adoption is,
Yeah, how long is a piece of string?
yeah.
Very good. Well, look, Howard, thank you for spending a bit of time with us this afternoon in an incredibly busy conference.
It's my pleasure.
Wonderful to talk to you. Now, before we let you go, we've been asking all of your colleagues about the intersection of science, fact, and fiction. Our sort of thesis being, TV, film, books have been talking about things like, robots and artificial intelligences and large-scale technical aspects for a number of decades, and they've always felt, a little in the future. But now you go down onto the expo floor and you actually see a great deal of this stuff really happening. So I wonder if you have any that spring to mind, like examples of either good or bad versions of how tech is represented in fiction.
Yeah, I would say good, bad, and I'm not sure what to do with it.
Yeah.
So good, the Jetsons. Come on, it's good.
Nice.
Got proper flying cars. You're getting all excited.
Yeah.
Look, the fact that the fly, but the video conferencing, they were talking on phones to each other with pictures, and in the 60s.
And to Robert's point, their flying cars looked like actual flying cars, not like crappy helicopters.
Right. But so good that view of the universe was good. Everything's going to be better. We're going to have convenience. We're going to have consumers going to be helped. Is going to be able to communicate better, and so that's good. Bad bad and frightening is Terminator.
Of course.
Probably a standard one.
What do you think we're doing differently to the fictional universe of Terminator? A series of things must have happened in the fictional evolution of the use of AI. Do you think that as it's playing out in the real world, we're being more sensible, more ethical?
Oh, absolutely not. I think we're following. I think we're following the script almost to the letter.
Yeah.
But I think, but also the good news is humans are highly adaptable. We haven't gotten to the point yet where it's too late for us. And then the one that I wonder about that has real implications now is the movie. I think it was called Her.
Oh yes.
With
Scarlett
Johansson and River Phoenix or Joaquin Phoenix. And that's the part that really is troublesome because the AI changes our relationship with each other. And
also it kind of elicits emotional reactions in us towards things that aren't necessarily equipped to return that.
Right. And it makes us, in the end, will make us sort of a different species because we will live with it. And we, being humans, we will adapt it to what the good ending is we adapt it. It's a tool. It creates lots of productivity.
Yeah.
In my case, in the industry, we're talking about more energy for everybody, more, all of that, and we live happily ever after.
But we keep it in that box that says it's a tool to help our productivity or our creativity. It is not some sort of anthropomorphized.
Almost, David. Getting better.
Yeah. It's for us.
Yes.
It's for and with us, but not.
Yeah, not us.
Not us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very insightful. Thank you so much. Great conversation this afternoon. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Great.
Guys.
Want to dive deeper in today's topics and what they might mean for you and your business? Drop us a line at cloudrealities@capgemini.com. We're all on Substack and on LinkedIn. connect, DM, and send us your questions for future episodes. And hey, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps us improve the show. A big thanks to Rob and Howard, our sound and editing wizards Ben and Louie, producer Marcel, and of course you for tuning in. See you in another Reinvent Reality soon.